Hello everyone, welcome to this class on non-destructive testing. So in this class we will be dealing with the last module, eddy current testing. So before I start, I would like to thank Mr. Nis Menacheri from Jyoti Engineering College for providing us with the content for that helped us making this PPT. Now, the last module consists of the eddy current testing method. This is the final method in the non-destructive testing. So in the series of lectures that we're going to have now, we'll be going to be discussing the different principles of eddy current testing, the various properties associated with the process, and the various concepts such as field factor, effect of lift, the effect of lift, the field factor, the edge effect, the impedance plane, the depth of penetration, and the various equipments and accessories associated with the ECT process, and also the various processes that can be done, such as conductivity measurement, hardness measurement, defect detection, and the advantages and limitations of the testing method. Now we move on to what is eddy current testing. Now, eddy current inspection is actually one of the methods that uses electromagnetism or electromagnetic induction as a basis or the method for conducting all this inspection. There are also several other techniques that are in use, such as remote field testing (RFT), flux leakage, and Barkhausen noise. All of the mentioned techniques, including eddy current testing, makes use of the phenomenon of electromagnetism. Now we'll discuss the different properties associated with the eddy currents. What are eddy currents, right? Eddy currents are actually eddies, that is, they have a circulating nature. So eddy currents, they can be defined as oscillating electrical currents that are induced in a conductive material by an alternative magnetic field due to electromagnetic induction. That is, you have a conductor. When you pass an electric current through a conductor, it develops a magnetic field, and if another conductor is brought into the proximity, then a secondary magnetic field is introduced onto the second conductor, which causes the formation of eddy currents. Now, the eddy current testing method, as mentioned before, can be used for sorting materials. It can be used for measuring and controlling. It can be used for measuring and controlling the dimensions of the tube, sheets, rods, for controlling the coating thickness, for pre-service and in-service examination of heat exchanger tubes, and also for detection of the defects. Now, the process, as mentioned before, makes use of electromagnetic induction to detect and characterize surface as well as subsurface flow. So you can easily find out the surface cracks, flaws, or subsurface flows by using this technique. But the issue associated with this, we can use only conductive materials, right? Highly conductive materials can only be used for this testing process. Now, we need to know, before we move on to the process, we need to know the different properties that are associated with eddy currents. The first one is that the eddy current, the eddy current density or the current density, it is actually decreasing with the depth, right? As the depth of the or the thickness of the material increases, the density of the eddy current is decreasing. How it is decreasing? It is decreasing exponentially. This phenomenon is known as skin effect. That is, the exponential decaying of eddy current density with the depth or increase in thickness is known as skin effect. Now, the second property is that eddy currents are actually closed loops, right? The currents are forming closed loops. They are actually induced current, that is, induced into a different conductor material. It is circulating in a plane perpendicular to the magnetic flux. That is, wherever whatever is the direction of the magnetic flux, perpendicular to that magnetic flux, eddy currents will form closed loops. And eddy currents normally travel parallel to the coil windings, right? Whatever is the coil that you're using, the eddy currents are normally traveling parallel to the coil windings, and the flow is limited to the area of the induced magnetic field. That is, the secondary conductor is brought in to the primary conductor coil. So the area where the magnetic field of the first conductor is influencing, it is limited. That is, the eddy currents, normally their density is dependent on the area of the induced magnetic field, and it is perpendicular to the axis of the coil flux field. Now, this is actually the representation for the phenomenon of an electromagnetic induction. That is, consider that you have a conductor here and it is connected to an alternating source of current. That is, in order to have electromagnetic induction, so you need to have an alternating current source. So consider a current carrying conductor. The current source that is used is an AC current. So when you are passing alternating current through the conductor, for example, a copper wire, a magnetic field is developed. This is as shown in the figure. Magnetic fields are developed throughout the conductor, in and around the conductor at various locations. This magnetic field will expand, right? That is, the strength of the magnetic field will increase as the alternating current increases, reaches a maximum value, and when the alternating current is brought to zero, then the magnetic field will collapse, right? So the magnetic field will increase with an increase in alternating current and will collapse as soon as the current value reaches 0. Now this is the existing condition. Now we have not talked about the electromagnetic induction. How does electromagnetic induction or eddy currents develop? That we're going to see in the next slide. So now if another electrical conductor that is shown in the red color, if it is brought in, that is you are not passing any current through it, right? You're just bringing another electrical conductor, say it may be a copper wire. If that copper wire is brought in the vicinity of the first conductor that is shown in yellow, what will happen is it is in the vicinity, right? That is the second conductor that is shown in red color is actually in the vicinity of the first conductor. So as a result, since it is having the effect of the alternating magnetic field, so and when the second conductor shown in red is brought to the vicinity of the magnetic field, as a result of this magnetic field, right, a secondary magnetic field is created. That is actually the reverse process is occurring, and a current is induced into the conductor, right? A current is induced into the conductor. This induced current is actually called eddy currents, right? Eddy currents are actually a form of induced current, and a magnetic field is created. That is, whatever is happening in the first conductor, the exact opposite is happening. That is, a current will flow in the second conductor, and there will be a secondary magnetic field developed in the red conductor, right? This process is actually called electromagnetic induction. Now why do we call it eddy currents, right? Now eddy currents are actually, as you seen in the previous slide, they are induced electrical currents, right? That is induced because of electromagnetic induction, and as mentioned before, they are flowing in a closed loops, right, or in a circular path. Now how do they get their name, right? They get their names, right, because as you can see, when a fluid is flowing past a liquid or a gas, and right, when it is flowing, there are conditions that they can form eddies, right? Eddies are can be formed inside the flow due to the rotating tendencies of the fluid, that we call them as eddies. So according to the same principle, that's why we named them as eddy currents. Now, the condition is that in order to generate eddy currents, actually we need an AC source, right? An AC power source is required, and in order to generate eddy currents for an inspection, a probe is actually used. This is the probe. Inside the probe is the length of an electrical conductor, right? This is actually an electrical conductor which is bent into the form of a coil. Now this is actually made of copper, or any other conducting material can be made in the form of coil, and then alternating current is actually allowed to flow through the coil, right? And the frequency is actually controlled by the technician. Different types of material might require different frequencies for the AC current. That is, you have an AC current source here, you can control the frequency, or the operator can control the frequency at this point, and we can pass alternating currents of different frequencies. So when we vary the frequencies, the electromagnetic flux that is produced, the electromagnetic field that is produced will vary. In accordance, when you bring a second conductor into the vicinity, the induced magnetic field will also vary, and the eddy currents will also vary. So the eddy currents, what I wanted to say is that the eddy currents will actually depend on the intensity of the AC power source that is being used. Okay, so when I'm passing it through it, right, when the AC source is actually passed through it, a dynamic expanding and collapsing magnetic field is formed in and around the coil. That is called the magnetic field that is generated. Is whenever a conductor is carrying the current, it will automatically produce a magnetic field. The magnetic field will be expanding and collapsing depending on the frequency of the alternating current. Since the current is alternating, right, it is alternating, so it will have peaks and valleys. So when it reaches zero, then the magnetic flux will collapse. When it increases to a maximum, the magnetic field will again be maximum. So a field will be developed. That is the point. Then I'm bringing in an external material, right? This gray material that is as shown in the figure is actually the material that we need to test it, right? We need to find the defects. So when I'm passing, or when I'm inducing this material, or the conductor, when I'm producing it, or when I'm say introducing it to that magnetic field, right, then what will happen is electromagnetic induction will occur. Electromagnetic induction will occur, and as a result of electromagnetic induction, eddy currents are developed in this gray material, right? They will form closed loops, and also a secondary magnetic field is produced that opposes, that will be equal and opposite in direction. It won't be equal, sorry, it won't be equal. As a result of eddy currents, a secondary magnetic field actually is produced. This secondary magnetic field will oppose the primary magnetic field, right? So as mentioned before, eddy currents flowing in the material will generate their own secondary magnetic field. This is the secondary magnetic field generated that will oppose the primary magnetic field. Now Eddy currents, they are actually strongest at the surface. As mentioned before, in skin effect, their strength is actually reducing exponentially, right? So exponentially, we can say that the surface the current density at a particular point, right, within, as the depth increases, the exponentially it is decreasing. So as the depth goes on increasing, a point will be reached when the current density will only be 1 by E, or 37% of the surface density. This is actually the pictorial representation for the skin effect. So what I intended to convey through this message is that eddy currents will be strongest at the surface, right, and their strength will decrease as the thickness of the material goes on decreasing. So in order to have better penetration effect, so for the eddy currents to penetrate deeper, we need to introduce higher frequency materials, or use better conductivity materials, or materials having better magnetic permeability. So we come to the end of this lecture. In the next video, we will be discussing the different methods that are used in eddy current testing. Thank you.